Yo, what's up? My name is Thomas van Opstal and we're here at the Atlantisstudio in Amsterdam today where I recorded these live sessions. And in this video I will be going over all the ins and outs of recording the RedbullMusicstudios Uncut session with Fresku. In this series, I'll run you through my thought process when recording an entire band live in the room together, why I made certain choices, why I used the mics I did, why I placed the instruments and musicians the way I did, and how I used mic placement and polar patterns to get the right amount of spill. And yes, I'm saying the right amount of spill because the magic with live recording sessions is always in the spill. So let's dive right in and see what I did. Okay, so we've got a flute to start with. Very nice shot. We see a microphone we haven't seen before yet. One of my favorites that I actually do not own, but really wanna get as soon as possible. It is the Josephson E22S. It's a small diaphragm condenser and it's a side address mic. I had it on demo during this session and I tried it on the flute and it sounded absolutely amazing. I don't even think I did that much to it in processing in the chain or in the mix. I really like this on toms and snare top as well. So if you have one at the studio you're at, please do try it because it sounds absolutely amazing. Okay, and then we've got some people. We see someone behind a mic. Yeah, you can't really see the mic in the video, but there is a mic over there. And we see a cello. So the cello is recorded with a U67 and I can tell that it is the reissue U67. It's about, what's that, 50, 60 centimeters from the bow and the strings of the cello. And that's usually what I go for. Aiming down parallel with the strings, leaving enough room for that bow to do its thing, and then capturing all of that detail. Using a tube mic really allows you to be a little bit further back from the instrument, but still capture all of the body and the details of that instrument. The U67 is great for that, and I believe it was either on figure of 8 or cardioid. Later on in the video we'll see where the rest of the instruments are placed and then I'll get a better picture of what it was actually on, polar pattern wise. And then we get a Fresku lead vocalist on the Flea 47 U47 replica. On his vocal it sounded great as well, and we can see a glimpse of another mic, which I'll get back to later. Maybe if you've seen other videos of mine, you know which mic that is. It is a trash mic. He's very close to the mic, getting a lot of proximity effect. Usually I wouldn't go for that in a recording session, but with a live recording session, I want to get the most amount of vocal versus the rest of the spill of any other instrument that's in the room. So I'll just let him do that if he's comfortable. That way, I want the best performance out of it and I want the least amount of spill from drums and other instruments. And we can actually tell now that it is the Moth Sound Moth mic, which later on in the video gets a really cool feature. Using trash mics in recording sessions, especially with vocalists, gets them really hyped up. With drums it works really good as well, but with vocalists, if they can make like the radius sound or the lo-fi sound already, that just sparks a lot of creativity. It's a big reason why I make microphones out of telephones, which sparked the Will It microphone series I did. If you don't know that, check it out on TikTok. It's super fun. I turn everything that makes sound into a microphone and it just makes for fun recording sessions. And then the lights go on. You can see the same piano mics. I had the coils over here. They are fixed figure of 8, so also the bottom of those coils are picking up the piano and the top is picking up the ceiling, and this plane over here that is canceling everything out. So that way I can get the most amount of rejection from the other instruments and just focus the most sensitive part of that microphone on the piano itself. He is also playing a Prophet at the same time as he's doing the piano. That Prophet is just a DI in to the control room, and we see the backing vocalist. SM7B, don't have to go crazy, we don't have to do anything else. The SM7B also is just really nice in terms of video, visually, because you don't need a separate pop screen and stuff like that. So you can just stick it up there, vocalists can just get right onto the grill of that mic. Ooh, and there is the light. And in the other room, in the lounge actually, there is a harp. And I'm really wondering what I used on harp. I'm thinking, I can't really see the mics, but I think 2 KM84s, maybe a DI output as well, just to be sure, because there's usually an element inside of the harp that also has a microphone built in, and you can just take an XLR or a jack out. And then I basically approach a harp like a grand piano. So I'll just do a spaced pair. And because you've got more of the finger action on the strings itself, I want to do small diaphragm condensers, because small diaphragm condensers generally are more detailed and precise, and that's actually what I needed most. And maybe I set up a room mic or two, but the video's so dark and cinematic that I'm not too sure. Then we're back, and there he goes to the trash mic, to the moth mic, for that different flavor and the gritty texture. We get drums with an SPD, and we have a snare here with an RE20, because he's more bashing the drums, I believe. So that's why I'm using an RE20 on there and not a condenser mic like I'm doing in other live performance videos. And then the flute comes back. The flute is in cardioid, so I'm not necessarily pointing it away from the drums, so the cardioid null is towards the drums. I'm just embracing that. It was fine in the recording session. If it wasn't, I would have positioned it more this way. But positioning it up higher, down to where her mouth meets the flute, that's where I'm getting the most detail and the nicest sound. So I'd rather not position it here unless I really cannot deal with the drum spill. Also, I can't make it a figure of 8. Maybe if it had a figure of 8 option, I would have gone for that. And we're finishing off with the harp again. It was so dope to put that in the actual lounge and have that separated from all the other instruments. So we actually have an acoustic barrier between everyone here in this room, and then have the harp in the other room. The harp is going to be really low level, so I really want to create as much separation as possible. So that was the best way to do it. And then visually, we found a way to make that even more interesting. I'm not sure if it is actual drums or if it's just an SPD and a separate snare. Yeah, so in the beginning, in the first part, in the first song, it is definitely just drums, kick, snare, hi-hat. That's it, very minimalistic, and then the SPD for the second song. So that's why we've got a mashup of both. So the SPD just goes straight DI. Maybe I did separation on some of the elements like kick, snare, hi-hat, and then on the snare, I've put an RE20 because I needed a big snare sound. And an RE20 is great for that. And then probably a 414 on the bottom to give me that beefiness on the bottom end. And then On a kick, I've probably done beta 52, 47 fret, something like that. And that was it for the RedBullMusic Uncut session of Fresku. I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a like down below and let me know in the comments what you think about my approach. If you have any questions about what I do and how I work. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Later.